Hi, folks. You're with Tassus today at your Pushback Channel. Thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about this is an amalgam of a few reports an alleged reports or studies about how the genders are affected in the workplace in the areas of prestigious jobs, redundancies, and so on. Now, the reports begin with the premise that the workplace in the West is rampant misogyny, patriarchy, racism. Women are just being raped left, right, and centre. Beaten, threatened, harassed. It's a hellscape for women, and of course, evil fascist Nazi men. There's no mention, the inference all the time, it's all white men who do it. Whereas if you look at the legal cases and so on, then it's certainly not white men, but they can't say that because to tell the truth now would be regarded as racist. It's so bad in the West now that to tell the truth is now considered as evilness of the first order. That's how insane things are. But actually, when you read through these reports and sort of do the drill down, now they talk about, they look at the most prestigious roles. So, well, look, here in the best paid jobs in the nation, there are more men than women. So that is proof of patriarchy. It's proof of misogyny. It's proof of Hitler. So, but the crews that clean out, like there's one large office building here that has all restaurants and cafes at the bottom. And so the crew that comes to clean out the grease traps, very dirty job and horribly smelly job. The crew that comes to clean out the grease traps that are, part of like the overall plumbing system, they're all men. Every one of them is a man, but there's no complaints. Isn't it terrible? Look at the fucking misogyny. There are no women who are crawling through the conduits, cleaning out the grease traps. There are no women doing it. The fucking misogyny. There's nothing. No, that's not mentioned. It's only the most prestigious jobs that are supposed to be allocated to women or black lesbians or whatever, and that's the only thing they look misogyny. Whereas they should be equally complaining about the grease trap, or there was in one office building there was it's like a a car wash facility in the parking lot, but the parking lot attendants and the car wash people are all men. But there's no complaining about equality of genders there. No, we don't care about that. We only want the most prestigious, best paid. That's where we want equality. Everything else, who cares? So anyway, but it got on to, as you're sort of reading down, it got onto the numbers, and you have to really do a bit of sifting to get this. But it got down to the issue of layoffs and redundancies and things like that, firings. Now, it's effectively illegal now to fire people for being incompetent. The reason for that is since affirmative action and race gender quotas came in, it's really tacitly accepted that you're hiring people not because they're competent or capable or qualified, but simply because they're the proverbial black lesbian. But the proverbial black lesbian will be incompetent and will fuck everything up. So you can't then say, well, we'll hire you because you're totally unqualified, but we'll fire you because you can't do the job. So that would be viewed as an inconsistency. And if you fire the proverbial black lesbian, then that's proof that you're a racist, Nazi, fascist, quite possibly Hitler. So that can't happen either. So the idea of firing people for incompetence, it kind of doesn't really happen anymore. Mass redundancies, maybe you could sweep the incompetent up in that, like say in the layoffs in Twitter, where they laid off I think 80% of the staff. Goes to show how much dead wood they had there. They lay off 80% of the staff, and as a lot of social justice warrior flunky girlies, living in fantasy land that they got caught up in that. But outside of that, and here are the numbers here, and I sort of did an average of the numbers, that men are retrenched at 2.5 times the rate of women. Now, it wasn't specific here about whether it was, say, in factory work where you would expect more men, or in occupations that had more men than women, and therefore you would see, that ratio would simply be a reflection of the number of people in that workforce, or the gender makeup of it. So it wasn't clear, but certainly the impression was it was across a 12-month period across multiple businesses, and without any specific mention or allusion to that it was, say, one was manufacturing or office work or something like that. But and men were just under 3.95 times more likely to be made redundant than women. So the mass layoffs, the retrenchments, all these sort of things, and this is across the board, that you can still fire a straight white male for being incompetent. You just can't fire anyone else. So I was surprised. I mean, if you look at the numbers here, women and their employment, women are being very well protected. Men that were, say, working remotely during COVID that didn't really want to come back into the office, they get fired. But if a woman does the same thing, then, well, that's okay. Can you please come in one day a week at least? That type of stuff. So it was quite clear there's a heavy bias in favour of women, and that men are much more likely to be made sort of responsible. The economic times are tough, so we're going to fire a whole bunch of men, but the women, we got to keep them. Now, it could also be, if you look at it in the wider scope of things, it could be that the women are paid less. Or they're in jobs that aren't directly responsive to the condition of the economy or the commercial success of the business, or you still need a minimum amount of paper shufflers doing boring shit. Maybe more women are in doing that, therefore they're less prone to be laid off. Maybe the guys, the high-powered guys cutting computer code, they're on big bucks. So if business slows down, you'd get rid of them first because you don't need, that type of thing. So it's a bit harder to disentangle that. But one thing that came out very clearly is when it comes to layoffs, redundancies, firings, and so on, men are by far and away more likely to be thrown out the door than women. So this idea that women are the victims and are oppressed and this and that, that's bullshit, utter bullshit, which I think we already knew. You've been in Tacitus today, your pushback channel. Thank you for listening.